This is St. Louis Cardinals baseball. And tonight from the ballpark of the Palm Beaches, home to the Houston Astros, the world champions. It's spring training baseball on Fox Sports Midwest, the Houston Astros and the St. Louis Cardinals. And welcome to Cardinals baseball. That's Ricky and Keel. I'm Dan McLaughlin. No other way to put it. It's his third start of the spring. It's a pretty big start for Miles Mikolas today.
Yeah, I would agree. I think for the first part of spring, it's only been 2 starts, but you're really out there just working on trying to get your control of everything. And the first thing that comes is your fastball, and then you want to work on getting control of your off-speed stuff. So we're going to see him, I think tonight you're going to see him come out and really try to get a hold of that off-speed stuff and see if he can mix stuff up and keep those hitters off time.
We had the chance to visit with pitching coach Mike Maddox the last time that Mikolas faced Houston. Here's what he had to say.
How many hits did you give up, Miles? He said 7. I said, what'd you give him up on? He goes, fastball. And I said, what happened to your curveball? You know, well, they didn't hit that. And I said, why not? And he goes, well, I didn't throw enough for strikes. So he started answering, he started evaluating his own outing about what was going to be good. And, you know, he knows where he fell short. So you learn from that.
So Mike Maddox will be watching keenly tonight to see exactly which Miles Mikolas will get here in his third start of spring training. Justin Verlander, who was sensational for Houston in the postseason a year ago. It's his third start of spring. Verlander, Mikolas, Astros, Cardinals, baseball, and it comes your way next. Baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you in part by Budweiser. Wherever legendary MLB moments happen, Budweiser will be there. By Shelter Insurance. For your auto, home, and life, we're your shield, we're your shelter. And by Steak and Shake. At Steak and Shake, mix and match any 2 items for just $3. Better burgers, better prices, Steak and Shake. Road game tonight for the Cardinals, their lone night game of spring training. We're at the ballpark of the Palm Beaches along with Ricky and Keel. I'm Dan McLaughlin, and this is Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest. Meet Mike Matheny's lineup tonight with Colton Wong, Tommy Pham, and Yadier Molina, Marcell Ozuna, Paul DeJong, Carson Kelly, Patrick Wisdom, Tyler O'Neill, and Alex Mejia. The Cardinals get a tough test tonight in Justin Verlander, and he has had a good spring thus far. His third start of spring, and so far 5 innings, 9 strikeouts, only 2 hits allowed. His numbers from a year ago. He was 15-8. He was dominant in the postseason and still considered, Rick, one of the game's best in baseball.
You're absolutely right. He keeps getting older, but it doesn't seem like he's losing anything at all. That fastball's still up there in the mid-90s. He can run it up in the upper 90s when he wants to, and this guy knows how to pitch. I think he showed the world exactly who he was last year in the postseason.
We highlight Jose Altuve defensively. Many of the regulars are in the lineup tonight for the world champions. Derek Fisher in left, Jake Marisnick in center, Josh Reddick in right field. Then J.D. Davis, he's had a very good spring. Carlos Correa, Jose Altuve, Marwin Gonzalez, and the veteran, formerly of the Yankees and Braves, a world champion now, Brian McCann, is behind the plate. Colton Wong will lead it off. He's hitting 188 this spring, no home runs, and he's driven in 2. I was asked prior to spring training, who's the player that you think would bust out for the Cardinals this year, the player to watch? And I went with Colton Wong. You know, the contract situation is settled. He's not the focal point of much of the conversation. Will he bat leadoff, or where is he going to be in the lineup? Pretty much knows where he's going to be, and he's going to play every day. Right-handers and left-handers on the mound. First pitch is strike.
I think mentally that's a big deal, getting the chance to settle down into everything, knowing that you're going to get a chance to play and not having to feel like you have the pressure to get a hit every time that you're up there.
Here's the 0-1 pitch by Verlander. 0-2. Yeah, and if you're a young player and you go through a rough streak, you go 0 for 10, 1 for 15. You know, if you're Wong now you're not looking over your shoulder and saying, well, am I going to be pulled? He's going to play every day. Here's the 0-2 pitch. No argument there. Carved him up, 3 pitches, froze him with the breaking ball.
Verlander, you see after those he's got that straight fastball that comes out of that high release. So when he throws that curveball there, it comes out of that hand. It could seem like it's going to be a fastball up. That curveball freezes him right there.
And he still got a good one. Here's Tommy Pham coming off a tremendous season, 2020 man. He does have a home run this spring. So 4 pitches, all 4 have been strikes. That pitch hit 95 miles an hour. Verlander now 35 years old, and already quite the resume that he's put together in Major League Baseball. There's a curveball, a beauty, a little bit low. 6-time All-Star. He was both the MVP and the Cy Young Award winner in 2011 with Detroit. Last year, he was the MVP of the ALCS. He went 2-0 with a .56 ERA. 1-2.
A little bit of a makeup call there, I think.
I agree. I thought the second pitch to Pham fooled the umpire. Here's a 1-2 pitch. Verlander to Pham. Fastball, a little bit high. Last year, 15-game winner. His 7th time that he's had 200 or more strikeouts. The 10th time, 200 or more innings. Go back to 2006. He started in the World Series wearing that Tigers uniform against the Cardinals. 3-2 the count on Tommy Pham. Struck him out. Fastball. 97 on the gun. The scoreboard here.
That ball has so much carry on it right there. You see Pham trying to get ready for that 3-2 count, but he throws it up above that belt, but still in the strike zone, so he can't take that pitch. That's a really tough pitch to hit right there.
Here's Yadier Molina with 2 outs and nobody on. The Cardinals come into this ball game 6-6-2 this spring, and the Astros 10-5-1. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Put into play into shallow right, racing in Reddick, and he makes the catch. Cardinals go in order. Miles Michaelis, important start for him. His 3rd of the spring is coming up. Correa, Gonzalez, McCann, Davis, Fisher, and Marisnik. That's the lineup for the world champions. Miles Michaelis, his 3rd spring start. Been a rough spring. The numbers show it there. 4 2/3, 13 hits, 2 strikeouts, 10 earned. I've just seen a lot of contact against Michaelis, where sometimes you look at those numbers for a guy and you go, okay, it's spring training, he might be working on something, but he's not getting many swings and misses, which is an indication that probably things aren't going the direction that he needs them to go in.
You're right. I think the first part of spring, you know, you're just working on that fastball command. So I would think tonight he's going to come out and try to mix in some more off-speed stuff, try to keep these guys off balance.
Here's a 1-0 pitch. 1 ball and 1 strike. Springer had 283 last year with 34 home runs and was the MVP of the World Series. He had 5 home runs in 7 games against the Dodgers. He hits that out of play. Been the ultimate spark plug. If you go back to 2016, 17 leadoff home runs by Springer. He had 9 last year.
He's got as much power as anybody I've seen. I was a part of this rebuild with the Astros in 2013. I got a chance to see him in spring training and see what he can do. I mean, this guy's special. He definitely has some serious tools.
What a year it was. World Series MVP. Also won the Silver Slugger. First-time All-Star. Former first-round pick in 2011 from the University of Connecticut.
Glad it's not a televised game.
Here's a 1-2 pitch. Michaelis to Springer. Just missed on the inside corner.
Good call, Blue. Good call, Blue.
Here we see him trying to get that pitch in there. Just off the inside. Springer almost went for it, but good job holding up.
Somebody's on spring.
Here's a 2-2. And a ground ball, base hit into left.
Off-speed pitch there. He wanted to get that down a little bit more there. Left that a little bit up, and Springer was able to get good contact in it. There you see it up there by the belt. You know he wanted to make that pitch down there by the knees.
Marcell Ozuna, Gold Glover in left field. Pham in center. Tyler O'Neill been nursing a sore oblique. He's in the starting lineup tonight in right field. DeYoung at short. Long at second. On the corners, Mejia and Wisdom. Yadier Molina behind the plate. And here's Josh Reddick. That's it out of play. Michaelis actually pitched on the backfields in Jupiter on Tuesday, which would have been a bullpen for him. It was live batting practice instead of that bullpen session. And he basically swapped innings that day with Bud Norris, who made the trip to face the Astros tonight. Some news on Norris before the game from Mike Matheny. 0-2. He said Bud will now go strictly in the bullpen. So thought was he could be a swing man if need be. He'll still be stretched out, but they anticipate he would have short innings in the bullpen.
That last cutter we saw there's going to be a really good pitch for him. You see it coming in looking like that fastball that was the pitch before, and then breaking in on the hands. That's going to be big for him.
And the 0-2 hit sharply to Wisdom. Out at second, back to first, double play. Wisdom, a natural third baseman, and that's not an easy play for a guy that's really still learning how to play the position, making that throw.
Just showing how athletic he is there. Miles fired up.
Here's Jose Altuve. You mentioned that rebuild that you were part of here with the Astros, and this is a big part of it too. Jose Altuve, what a player.
To me, he's definitely one of the top players of the game, if not the top player in the game. He can do so many things, and now you're starting to see as he matures as a hitter, not only can he hit for average and everything that he's done, but he can hit for power too. He knows when to take that shot.
Curveball. Couple of hops, hit towards second, and Wong makes the play. So Michaelis, a scoreless frame with a little help from Patrick Wisdom at first base. The hot corner is supposed to be at third. He starts a double play. No score. By Paul DeYoung and Carson Kelly against Justin Verlander, who touched 97 in his third spring start. Had a long conversation, Rick, yesterday with Jim Cott, who pitched 25 years in the big leagues. His career spanned, by the way, 4 different decades. And he said what really has changed, and he said, I don't understand why pitchers come out and are throwing 97 early in spring. He said, you know, when we first started, you might not even throw a curveball to your 3rd spring start, you know, where you're just trying to get your mechanics down and get the feel back. And now it's just like guys are just ready. In the first spring start, it's here we go. It's no big deal.
Even for me, when I came in, that's exactly what they taught you. Go out there, work on your fastball, get it under control, then you move on to the off-speed stuff. And when I switched over to a hitter, I knew the first couple weeks that those pitchers didn't have control of that off-speed stuff, so I was hunting fastballs. So my big thing was to get ready to hit that heater early because I felt like I could put up some numbers and show Tony La Russa that I was ready to play.
Ozuna looks at a pitch in the dirt. Tony now working for the Boston Red Sox on the other side of the state. Dave Dombrowski, the president of baseball operations, hiring Tony as a special assistant. Verlander struck out 2 in the first, and the 1-2 pitch. Curveball and a beauty, and Ozuna didn't like it. He struck out 3 of the first 4 now.
Verlander, you bum!
Verlander's so good at moving that ball in all 4 corners of the zone. There you see that curveball, maybe a bit outside, but maybe catching a piece of the plate. Great pitch for him, tough pitch to take for Ozuna, but strike 3 either way.
Here's Paul DeJong, who signed a 6-year extension. Coming off 25 home runs a year ago. Shift on the infield on the left side.
That was filthy.
Yeah, this is almost unfair right now.
It is, and you know, at the time of night that we're at right now, where it's getting dark, but it's not quite dark, so the stadium lights aren't really lighting the ball up yet.
Here's the 0-1. And DeJong, it's a high fly ball out to deep left field. Fisher back at the wall. It's gone. Home run, Paul DeJong, his first of the spring.
Well, I guess it wasn't too hard for him to pick the ball up.
I guess it's not so unfair, huh?
Verlander trying to run that fastball in. Paul DeJong says, not tonight. You see him suck those hands in there. He got that foot down early. Verlander throwing hard tonight, and DeJong putting barrel all over that ball.
Now Carson Kelly, the designated hitter. Kelly with a base hit into right. So he strikes out 3 of the first 4, looks unhittable, and then back-to-back pitches, home run and a base hit.
Yeah, no, he's going to give you the nap slider.
Kelly not trying to do too much there. Great approach, looking right up the middle. Verlander, as good as he was in the first inning, going up there with a great mindset, gets a pitch he wants and shoots it over the second baseman's head.
A lot of room on the right side of the infield. The shift again on. This is Patrick Wisdom. Astros shifted more than any team in baseball with their infielders. I'm sure that's something that you saw a bunch of as a center fielder going to that organization and analytics. We talk about it so much in the game today. A.J. Hinch and the front office are on the same page. They will shift, shift, and shift.
No question. And they have to be, because I know you see in some organizations where the manager doesn't want it, but the analytics want it. And here it's absolutely worked for him. Last year winning the World Series. And you see Verlander sticking to his plan right there. That first pitch, he still goes away with the infield shifted over to the left side and still threw that right-handed batter away.
Wisdom had some long home runs with the wind blowing in during batting practice today. 31 home runs a year ago. And I'm sure the Cardinals, by playing him at first base, are doing him a favor too. Natural third baseman, but showcasing him if there's not a spot with St. Louis. There's not much more he could probably do in the minor leagues. And there's plenty of scouts down here in spring training. Here's the 0-2. Got him. The strikeout, the 4th of the night.
Great pitch right there. Remember those fastballs away early. Then he throws that slider. Looks like it's the fastball away. When Wisdom commits, that ball breaks. Strike 3.
In steps Tyler O'Neill. Out of Maple Ridge, British Columbia in Canada. Acquired from the Mariners in the Marco Gonzalez deal. Now, he hit a combined 31 home runs between AAA Tacoma and Memphis, as he had 12 home runs in just 37 games with the Memphis Redbirds. But he did strike out 151 times. But that's been the pattern in baseball. It's either a home run or a strikeout.
Yeah, not a big deal anymore. Everybody looking for the lift and separate. Strikeouts really don't matter for hitters.
Yep, just keep coming back.
7 of 8 first pitch strikes for Verlander. O'Neill, if you don't know the story, he's a son of a former Mr. Canada bodybuilder. And he was telling me the other day his dad was 5'8", 250 pounds, and under 5% body fat.
He looks like a little bowling ball running back. I know I wouldn't want to be in a collision with him.
No. Yeah, if it's either you or him with a fly ball, let him take charge.
Even if he's in right field, it's his.
So certainly intriguing, the power that he possesses.
So I will say, I've been to the Cardinals ballpark once. That whole little entertainment area outside of the ballpark. Have you ever been? Oh,
Here's a 3-0 pitch.
yeah, that's awesome.
And O'Neill looks at a strike. Verlander consistently with the fastball around 95 here tonight.
It's really impressive for only a third start of spring training.
Man. Here's a 3-1. Fastball again, 3-2.
Verlander so good at throwing that fastball by people. You know, he sits in the top of that zone. Everybody with the launch angle swinging up. That'll work to his advantage. He has that true carry, four-seam rise ball, so to speak, on there. And, you know, he's throwing through the catcher instead of to the catcher. Ugh.
And he struck him out. Was 3-0 and comes back to get him. Paul DeYoung, his first home run of this spring against Justin Verlander. A solo shot. 1-0 midway through 2. DeYoung's first hit since March 2nd, and then Kelly picks up a base hit, his first since the 26th of February. So it's been a while.
It's got to feel good.
Absolutely. This young man is going to be a star here, Carlos Correa, if he's not already.
Had a chance to talk to Jeff Lunau, and they really feel like he's going to have a breakout year this year and become the superstar of this team.
Former #1 overall pick out of Puerto Rico.
There's that pitch we were talking about, that slider, some slider, cutter-ish. He can kind of break depths on it, make it a little bitter, make it a little smaller. That's going to be really big for him.
Here's a 1-1 pitch. Correa breaks his bat, base hit into left. One of the great aspects about having Rick Ankiel in the booth is your perspective on pitching. You've been a hitter, you've been an outfielder, base running. So let's start with the pitching aspect here. What are you seeing with the delivery of Miles Michaelis?
It seems like this first inning here and here, he's been a little up in the zone. It seems like the body's getting out a little bit in front of him. I think just trying to impress. You know, he wants to show everybody. This is a big start. He wants to show everybody what he can do. He's back in the United States. He's pitching for the Cardinals here in his hometown. It just seems like he's getting out there a little quick.
So if he's out in front, what will that do with his pitches?
Well, if you get out ahead of your arm and your arm can't catch up, then you can't get over your front side. And you see there, he's not really getting over that front side enough, and that ball's staying up a little bit. He's not able to bury it down in the bottom of the zone.
Marwin Gonzalez, first baseman for Houston. 23 home runs a year ago. There's a curveball and a good one. Gonzalez was game 2 of the World Series. He had the home run off of Kenley Jansen, the closer of the Dodgers. They had been 98-0 Los Angeles when leading entering the 9th inning until that home run that he hit. It's a famous home run now in Astros history.
98-0, is that good?
It's pretty darn good. That's pretty automatic. 2 strikes now.
Here you see that split finger right there. He's still not getting out in front as much as he wants to, but he gets a lot of movement out of it, breaking away from the hitter. Marwin not able to stay on it. You know, I remember Darryl Kyle saying, you know, those first 2 innings, he was really just trying to figure out what he had that night with what pitch. And then after that, then he could start attacking guys with what he felt like he had that night. It kind of seems that's what Miles is doing right now, trying to figure out what pitches he has, where he can locate what's the best pitch for the night, and then you go with that plan. With Molina back there, he knows the same thing, so it'll be interesting to see what they go with going forward.
It's a split change, I guess, that he's throwing, isn't it?
Yeah, split change, split. You can see the rotation on it a little bit different. When you see the ball spinning sideways, you can almost see that dot on it, which creates, you know, lets you know it's something different to the fastball.
Here's a 1-2 pitch. Slowly hit left side. Tough play. And out at first. Nicely done, Alex Mejia. I was telling you before the game that Alex Mejia is one of the better glove men that the Cardinals have at any level, and he just showed us there.
He's showcasing it. That's definitely a tough play. A lot of times you see guys come in and try to make that barehanded play. I think he knew with the speed of the runner, he had time. You see him use his glove, both hands there, and he's able to make the play.
So 1-out runner at second. And here's Brian McCann. Longtime Atlanta Brave, signed a big contract with the Yankees and then came over to Houston. 18 home runs last year.
More of an offensive catcher.
Probably a guy you know pretty well.
Yeah, what a great guy. He's one of the greatest attitudes you'll ever see in the clubhouse. He understands camaraderie, leadership, how to get the guys together. He's one of those guys when you see, you just want to walk up and give him a big hug every day.
Evan Gattis can play catcher as well. And McCann, though, has found a home here with Houston. That's the one thing you've always heard from the outside, is that he's a great teammate. Good player, obviously. Very good player. But a good teammate, you need those in a long, long season.
especially with the young team they have. You know, understanding the ups and downs, keeping guys on the up and up. You know, a loss doesn't matter, but let's stay positive and keep it moving. Just look forward to tomorrow.
1 ball and 1 strike. And that's out of play. Rick mentioned this time of night, tough to pick up the baseball, and you can see some late breaks from the outfield of the Cardinals. Only night game of the spring for St. Louis. It's a ball and 2 strikes on Brian McCann.
Got that last fastball down. If he can bury that split change right here, it'll be a great pitch off that last fastball.
See Michaelis with runners on, and in particular when I noticed this in his first start, when a runner gets at second base, watch his glove, the non-pitching hand. He kind of wiggles the glove, I'm assuming, to try to make sure that he's not giving away what he's doing inside that glove.
Yeah, make sure he's not tipping, and make sure the guy from second can't see in there and relay a sign either.
Here's a 1-2, and he struck him out. Michaelis gets his first strikeout.
Great curveball right there, and he has a really good one. He can settle down into his normal tempo and do what he wants to do. Get out front. Here you see him. He's able to get out front. You see how much that ball breaks. That's a really good curveball right there.
You were on the backfields and you saw Michaelis a couple of times with bullpens, and you said it's not translating to games. What you were seeing in the backfields,
Yep,
looked pretty good.
Looked pretty good back there. I felt like different from when he was in the big leagues in the past a few years ago. He seemed more settled down. He wasn't all max effort. He seemed like he was just settling into his own. And it seems like those first 2 starts, he just wasn't able to back it down and slow it all down. That pitch right there looked great.
Here's J.D. Davis. A couple of home runs already this spring. He's a 3rd-round pick out of Cal State Fullerton.
Back to that, another fastball down in the zone. It seems like this inning he's slowing it down a little bit, able to get over that front side and starting to bury the bottom of the zone.
Here's the 0-1. Well, we talked about it. He's from here. He's from Jupiter. You're from this area, so you know Miles, and he used to be completely max effort when he was with San Diego and Texas.
Yeah, I've seen him since he was in high school. It's max effort, and he can throw hard, but it was straight. And I think going over to Japan, he learned how to, hey, I'm just going to trust my stuff. My stuff is good enough. Let me back it off, try to hit my spots, stay in the zone, use all 4 corners of the zone, and really pitch.
He was 31-13 in Japan. He had 424 innings in Japan and only 69 walks. That was it. Now the Cardinals, they have expanded their scouting in Asia. Also looking at him on video, they were able to determine that they think that the stuff that he had there will play here with the big leagues. Time will tell. Here's a 1-2 pitch to Davis. Popped up, Colton Wong, and he makes the catch. Tommy Pham is coming up. He's due up 3rd for St. Louis, a 2020 man a year ago. We're through 2. A Paul DeJong home run, the difference thus far. It's 1-0. Verlander has already struck out 5 in this game. A Paul DeYoung home run, the difference so far. Along with Rick and Keel, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Cardinals spring training baseball on Fox Sports Midwest. Really interesting comments. We're going to show you a tweet momentarily by Justin Verlander, but a recent study was done by 538.com, and they had baseballs from after the 2015 All-Star break examined by scientists at USC and Kent State. And the study revealed that the recent baseballs in 2017 were less dense, weighing about a ½ gram less. And you say, well, that's not a big deal. Well, it is. ½ gram less than the baseballs before the midway point of 2015, and that slight change could make a ball travel 6 inches farther. So the point being is that the ball is different. They're saying it's the same. Apparently these studies are telling them it's not. And Justin Verlander, he was not happy about that. He said, look, you can have changes in the equipment. That kind of stuff happens. But you know what? Don't lie to me. Just tell me the baseballs are different. And last year, teams averaged 1.26 home runs a game. And that's the most ever by a landslide in the history of baseball. Here's a 2-2 pitch to Mejia.
I want to know what it does to the movement on the baseball for a pitcher. And how much will it move one way or the other?
So here's his tweet. All I'm saying is I don't care if balls are juiced. Seriously, we're all using the same ball, so it's a fair field. My issue, I don't like being lied to. I knew something was different. Century-old records are being broken and numbers are skewed. And I'm sure part of what he's frustrated with is what exactly you're talking about.
He has a point.
Can I make the ball do what I've been doing for 10 years if it's different?
Sure.
Did you ever feel that? I mean, you picked up a ball and you said, you know what, this is different. I know it's different. It's harder, or the seams are tighter, or whatever the case may be.
I didn't really feel that. You definitely notice the difference from minor league to a big league ball. There's no question in that. But, each ball has, it really comes down to sometimes how well it was rubbed up or not. And some balls you feel like you have a little bit more stickiness over the other one. And that just comes down to the clubhouse guys who are rubbing the balls.
Here's Colton Wong with a shift on the right side. He was called out on strikes first time up. My understanding is, and they call it Mississippi mud. Literally, that's what they call it, to rub up the balls. And my understanding is that it'll be uniform across baseball this year with the type of ball that they'll be using. So we'll see.
So they come pre-rubbed.
I think. I'm going to find out more tomorrow. That'll be a homework assignment. That we said when you went to Cincinnati. I remember John Smoltz when he was at the very end of his career with the Cardinals. He made a start and he threw out probably in a half inning 6, 7 balls. They throw it back to him and he'd look at it, roll it right back over to the dugout as Wong strikes out. Verlander has 7 already.
Well, the thing is they're machine made. Right, so everything's going to be a little bit different. Just like if a guy fouls off a ball, the pitcher gets the ball back and he doesn't like it and he throws it out. Well, the next pitch is probably going to be a breaking ball because he didn't like the seams.
You're starting to think along here, right? This guy's trying to get me out. Wait a minute. Here's Tommy Pham. He struck out first time up. Oof. Pretty nasty.
Starting above his eyes, ended up down by his knees.
And the 0-1 pitch to Pham. I'm assuming you faced Verlander before?
Yes.
What was the mindset trying to go into that at bat against him?
I didn't want to let him get to that breaking ball. First pitch heater, I'm all over it.
Yeah. Don't go deep into a count kind of thing. Just
exactly.
Jump on him if you can.
Yeah, because then he's got me where he wants, right? He's got a bunch of different weapons. He can wipe me out with this, not just that curveball. He can switch it into a slider, and he's got a changeup.
Here's a 1-1. So this is where you do not want to be. 1-2 is what you're trying to tell me.
No, not against him. I don't anyway. Maybe Pham's comfortable in this situation. I didn't want to be here.
Here's a 1-2 pitch. Fastball blew it by him. 94. And Pham strikes out. Verlander has struck out 8 here tonight. Dominant stuff here in spring training. The home run by Paul DeYoung is Justin Verlander has struck out 8 but yet trails in the ball game.
One of my favorite things about baseball is playing the games within the game. And here you see Yadier Molina, who does it best. You see him give this high flash sign like he's looking for a high fastball, but really he wants the curveball in the dirt. He's just messing with the runner on second base, so that runner on second base can't relay the sign to the hitter. One of the best at his position.
Well, we've seen in years past that Yadi loves to go out and talk with a pitcher. And this year, that's a mound visit. So a lot of that is going to have to be done between innings or signs that they know before the games, before the innings, what they're changing up. But the idea is to speed up the game and eliminate more of the mound visits that we've seen in the past.
You're right. I didn't think about it like that when they think somebody's relaying signs. They're definitely going to have to go through a lot more preparation to be prepared for that.
No doubt. Mike Matheny has actually instructed his infielders. So, for instance, you have a strikeout, you throw it around the horn, the third baseman gets it, and a lot of times, just you've seen it a million times. He walks over to the pitcher, maybe go to the mound, grab the rosin bag, slow his pitcher down. Well, this year that would be considered a mound visit, so he can't do that. Yeah, and he's told his infielders, don't go near the mound.
It's going to turn into football where you got to fake an injury.
Exactly. Bad hammy all of a sudden. This is Derek Fisher at the plate.
Fisher can absolutely fly. You have Fisher, Springer, and Marcinick out in the outfield. The ball might not drop.
You may recall Fisher scored the game-winning run in Game 5 of the World Series. He was added to their roster because of his speed and defensive prowess. Made his major league debut in June of last season. The Astros outfielders had the second lowest swing and miss rate in baseball. They put the ball in play. They've got good speed, like this young man.
Impressive considering how young they are.
Yep. A swing and a miss as he elevated that pitch. And Michaelis gets his second strikeout. Wherever you may be, you can take us with you. It's MLB.tv. Select spring training games live on your favorite device. Blackout and other restrictions apply for regular season. And all you have to do is visit MLB.tv for details. It's pop foul and out of play. So Michaelis, it looks like, Rick, that he settled down after you know, a first inning that saw a couple of hard hit balls, pitches that were up in the zone, that he's starting to settle down just a little bit.
I was thinking the same thing. You can see him moving the ball around more, and not so much down the middle, but moving it around, getting guys to think about what he's throwing.
1 ball and 1 strike.
Nice try right there with the front door cutter. Just missed. What I notice is his whole tempo seems slower. Seems more in control, like he's staying on that backside. Now he's able to get over that front side and put the ball where he wants.
Here's a 1-2. See Yachty right before that pitch. Wanted it up. He got it there. 2-2. It's all about deception, changing speeds, all the cliches you hear, but boy, it's important. Got him to reach. Fair ball. Mejia couldn't come up with it. That'll be a base hit.
Mejia almost has it. He has it right there when he goes to make the transfer. Not able to get it in the hand right there, but he would have had him out. He knows it too. He's definitely frustrated because he knows he had that play in the bag.
If he's going to make the club, it's plays like that that separate him from some of the others. Very good glove man. Here's George Springer at a base hit to left, first time up. I always find it interesting too to see second time through a lineup the adjustments that Michaelis will make and the hitters. How about a double play ball? 6, 4, 3. That's the second double play. Turn behind Michaelis. We head to the 4th. Double play started by Paul DeYoung.
Win yourself a lot of ball games with double plays.
To be strong, smart, and bold, the combination of long-lasting mentoring relationships, safe pro-girl environments, and research-based programming. Fox Sports Supports, FoxSportsSupports.com to learn more. Well, Justin Verlander has struck out 8. He has been dominant. And yet he trails 1-0 as Molina is swinging on the first pitch. Popped up to the right side. There's Altuve, and he makes the catch. It's fun to watch, isn't he, Rick Ankiel?
He's been electric tonight. That's one of the beautiful things here. You see a great curveball. Ball is just coming out of his hand. You would think he's in the middle of May right now. Moving the ball all around the strike zone. Guys can't tell whether it's going to be fastball, curveball, trying to guess because he's already throwing so hard. And this is really the first night that we've had a lot of our starters in the lineup. Facing one of the game's best.
Fun matchup here, Ozuna and Verlander. Marcel struck out on a curveball, didn't like the call. His first time up. And the 0-1 pitch to Marcel Ozuna. I think Cardinal fans will really enjoy watching this man go about his business. He shows up to the ballpark always smiling, laughing.
He loves to play the game.
Yes, he does.
St. Louis will love this guy.
And the 1-1 is grounded to short. 2 away.
Here you see Ozuna happy, go lucky, hugging everybody, even though it's the wrong team. But he's that kind of guy, and he brings that energy every day. Keep everybody happy. He's the kind of guy that can strike out 4 times in a row, and the next day he's begging to be in the lineup because he thinks he's going to do something special, which he absolutely might.
Quick hands. Here's Paul DeYoung, home run first time up. Mentioned it had been his first hit since March 2nd. That's fouled back against Justin Verlander.
Verlander was throwing gas. You see Pauly D gets that foot up, but he gets it down so quickly, able to suck those hands in and shoots it out to left field. 1-0 Cardinals.
I'm looking. You got a better view.
Here's a 1-1. Beautiful curveball. Line on Verlander, 3 2/3. Couple of hits, a run. The homer hit by DeYoung. He struck out 8. Here's a 1-2. Popped up right side. Marwin Gonzalez in foul territory. He has a play and makes it. Midway through 4, it's Reddick, Altuve, Correa coming up. 1-0 our score. Go to cardinals.com/HOF and see the ballot. Vote for your favorite players. Special thanks to Edward Jones for sponsoring the Hall of Fame and the annual voting process. There's Josh Reddick. Told the story the other day that I interviewed Jason Isringhausen, and you can see that on my Twitter feed. But one of the things that I asked him about is Reddick was trying to bunt is the Cardinal Hall of Fame. And he was on the national baseball ballot this year, and he said, I didn't get one vote. He said, but they sent me a letter and saying, hey, 98% of the guys that play in the game don't even get considered for it, so consider that an honor. And he said it would mean more to him to wear a red jacket than it would to go to the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Wow.
That's how important it is to him. And he is on the ballot at Cardinals.com. Jason, a Brighton, Illinois native, so grew up a Cardinal fan and all-time saves leader. He's got a great chance. Here's a 1-2. You mentioned tempo, and there's no doubt Michael has looked different as this game has gone along, and much different than his previous 2 starts.
Seems like he's starting to settle in.
2-2 pitch.
Not only for him, but for the hitter, you know, that changes things too, because he looks like he's more under control. Your body language says a lot. So as a hitter, when you're looking out there and everything's coming out of that same tempo, he's slowed down. You're not sure what's going to come. All of a sudden, fastballs explode on you, and it makes it a little bit tougher.
Let's see what Yachty did right before that pitch, pointing to the right side, allowing Wisdom or Wong or O'Neill to know, hey, it may hang, may be coming in. You could see this guy turning on it.
And reminding Miles to cover first if it was a ground ball to the
There
right
you go.
side.
Here's a 3-2, and he walked him. Cardinals have turned 2 double plays tonight behind Michaelis. One in the first, the other in the third. And here's Jose Altuve. They're stretching in the Astros bullpen, but no one throwing, so you may see Verlander out there for the 5th. No activity for the Cardinals. May see tonight Mike Myers, John Brebbia, Sam Tuivailala, or Bud Norris from the Cardinals side. And Mike Matheny with the media today, I mentioned it earlier, Bud Norris will go to the bullpen strictly, and Mike Myers will go to the bullpen too. They really like what they've seen out of Myers, and they feel he's just a different pitcher, can air it out, being a bullpen guy, and even if he is sent to the minor leagues, he will not be a starter. They will use him in the bullpen. And we've seen that so many times where a guy finds home in the bullpen because he's able to let it go, and instead of worrying about trying to get through 6-7 innings, you're worried about getting 1 hitter or 3.
Yeah, it really does change things, and you know, guys can rely on 2 pitches instead of having to have that 3rd and 4th pitch, and can make them totally different pitchers. There you see Miles running one up and in on Altuve. Oof. Altuve looked like he was trying to jump ship there and hit one into the trees, didn't he?
Yes, he did. Here's a 1-1. Then you paint. 1 ball and 2 strikes. The reigning MVP, the 4th straight season with 200 or more hits for Altuve. Hit 346, 24 home runs, drove in 81, swiped 32 bags. He's now won 3 batting titles. Hits it the other way. Wong gloves, can't come up with it. Reddick will have to stop at second base.
Weak hit ground ball. He got his ground ball there, just not able to turn play or get one at first either. Just kind of hit it in the hole.
Here's Carlos Correa. Base hit to left first time up. Rick mentioned that spoke to Jeff Luhnow and feels that Correa will have a bust-out season. He is the only shortstop in the history of the major leagues to reach 20 home runs in each of his first 3 seasons. This guy is some kind of player. Made his debut in 2015 and was the American League Rookie of the Year.
Remember, he missed time last year with a hurt wrist, so he wasn't even there the whole year.
They went 20 and 22 when he was hurt, so they were 2 games below 500. When he was in the lineup and started, 73 and 36.
That says something. I mentioned I was part of that rebuild, and he came up in spring training, and he wasn't cocky, but he was confident, and you could tell he knew he was good and had that air about him that, you knew once he got there he was going to be something.
1-2. Carlos Beltran was a part of the Astros last year from Puerto Rico, and that's where Correa is from. Those two became very good friends, and they said Beltran had a huge influence on him. Not that he's a bad kid, just trying to teach him some of the finer points of the game.
They also had Alex Cora as a bench coach, also from Puerto Rico, and I'm sure them two together, some of the 2 brightest minds in baseball that there are.
Struck him out, and Michaelis gets his 3rd strikeout. Let's go pitch by pitch.
Miles starts him out with a fastball in, just off, comes back with another heater up. There you see that curveball to the outside corner. Oof. That's a nasty one there. That's the one we've been waiting to see. You can see his body, his weight staying back. He's able to get over that front side, and then you see the action on that split change really diving down.
Marwin Gonzalez grounded out to 3rd, first time up. Molina calls time. See, this is a good example of maybe where Molina would walk out and not only change the signs with a runner at 2nd, but also just say, hey, here's what I'm thinking in this at bat. But now he can't do that.
That's important too for everybody to be on the same page. I know as a pitcher, I hated to shake. And if Miles is thinking something different, all of a sudden now they're not in sync. Talk about momentum. It's so big in baseball. Rhythm. Guys calling timeout, trying to get the pitcher out of the rhythm. All those things, and if they could be on the same page right now, definitely make a difference.
Line right now on Michaelis. 3 1/3, 4 hits, no runs. He struck out 3. Runners at 1st and 2nd. Beverly Narkowitz is watching Cardinals baseball tonight on Fox Sports Midwest, celebrating a birthday. Sit back, take it in. The weather's been beautiful down here in Florida. It's actually a fairly chilly night here at the ballpark. Here's the 0-1. So we get into regular season play. My understanding, and we had a call about this with Major League Baseball this week, is that they will put the visits up on the board. So you'll know, players, fans, when it's been charged by the umpire, you'll know how many visits you get. If you go to extra innings and you have 7 and 9 innings, if you go to extra innings, you can add 1.
Great pitch. Great pitch right there. And Gonzalez, one of the better hitters in the AL, hitting with runners in scoring position. Here you see Miles getting out front on that slider, and you can see the action on it. Just a lot different from that 1st and 2nd inning. Back to the mound visits, that's just going to make a lot more strategy for guys. And then when the accidental one happens, like you said, when a position player walks out there on accident, now all of a sudden, Matheny can't go out there and talk to a guy, or Molina when he wants to.
Or Mike Maddox. I would think that you better hope that your starter is pretty good and goes deep, and you can save him for later in the game when it seems like the strategy is at its best. And here it is. This will be a mound visit. The home plate umpire, maybe we can get a shot here. Watch the home plate umpire. We're looking at Molina, but let's see if we can get it. He'll turn around. He's marking the scorecard now, and he'll point, at least what we've seen, he's he will point to the press box and say, okay, that's a mound visit, charge him. He hasn't done that yet, but he has made the markings on his card that will go to Major League Baseball. So 2-2 the count.
Gonzalez hit .360 with runners in scoring position last year, which is second in the AL.
So if you think about Michaelis's start so far, pretty good. This is a big pitch. 3-2, runners at first and second. Runners go, and it's fouled back. Reddick got a very good jump.
Well, Adrian Beltre right there.
Big time. Gonzalez, his first 25 career home runs came with nobody on base. 25 of them to start his career with nobody on base.
That's hard to do.
Yeah. 3-2, runners do go, and the bases are loaded. 2 walks in the inning, bases loaded, pitch count up to 61 for Michaelis.
Double play candidate here with Brian McCann's speed.
Or lack thereof. Rick Ankiel said it, I didn't, Brian. He'd still hug you, though, wouldn't he?
Yeah, I'll send you a copy of the text if I get one later.
So the base is loaded. McCann, a ground ball foul.
Great pitch right there. Sack fly scores a run. B-Mac trying to do anything but hit a ground ball. Miles jamming him with a cutter in.
Anytime I think about a cutter and a left-handed bat, I think Luis Gonzalez, his game-winning home run or base hit in the World Series against the Yankees. That'll happen with a left-handed bat. These little flares that find a hole out in left field. Because of that, I just wonder if Ozuna's maybe playing a little too deep in left field.
This is where, as an outfielder, knowing the pitch really can change the way you play. And DeYoung or one of the other infielders are flashing signs back there to let him know he can start creeping in as soon as that pitcher's into his windup.
Here's a 1-1. Popped up, left side. Mejia, plenty of room. And the catch is made. 2 away. It's Willie McGee there. He'll be directing many of the outfielders throughout the season. There's J.D. Davis. Oquendo, it's about the infielders. McGee, base running, hitting, and a lot of outfield work. There's strike 1 on Davis.
J.D. Davis was a closer in college. Actually pitched 2 innings last year. How about that?
Well, you should know a thing or two about guys that go from the mound to the plate.
That's why I'm a fan. That's why I brought it up, of course.
George Springer got hurt. Davis got a chance last year. Curveball, 0-2.
Nice pitch. Changing the eye levels there. The first ball, fastball down here. You see the curveball up. Looks like it's going to be a ball. Breaks down into the strike zone. Best part about that 2-pitch sequence is he's got his eye levels all over the place, so he can go wherever he wants right now.
Here's the 0-2.
Ooh.
Up and in.
Here you see him trying to throw that fastball up, just gets away from him a little bit. Never want to see anybody get hit up there. But once again, now that he's throwing that fastball up there, you know, Davis, I'm sure, is a little unsure of himself in that box right now.
And the 1-2. Slowly hit towards the middle. DeYoung steps on the bag. Michaelis pitching out of trouble here in the 4th inning. Carson Kelly, Patrick Wisdom, and Tyler O'Neill coming up. Centers, St. Charles in South County, RTOAutocenters.com. By Hyundai, a better SUV is waiting for you at your local St. Louis area Hyundai dealer. And by Steak and Shake. At Steak and Shake, mix and match any 2 items for just $3. Better burgers, better prices, Steak and Shake. Along with Ricky and Keel, Dan McLaughlin with you. It's a Paul DeYoung home run, the difference so far. Verlander has struck out 8 through 4 innings. Gave up a home run back in the 2nd and a base hit to this batter, Carson Kelly. He singled to right first time up. Curveball taken high. So 4 innings, 2 hits, 1 run, 8 strikeouts. Wow, late break on that pitch.
That's what makes Verlander tough. Able to put that ball in all 4 corners.
One and 2 the count. A lot of Cardinal fans here tonight, even though this is a road game. It's about 25 minutes away from Roger Dean. Spring breaks starting to hit. You'll see a lot of kids at the ballpark next week. Kelly on a hop to Altuve, backs up and makes the play.
Great footwork by Altuve there. Didn't want to take the short hop. You see him backing up so he can get that nice cherry hop into his chest.
First baseman number 73, Patrick Wisdom.
Here's Patrick Wisdom. Struck out his first time up. High fly ball out to deep right field. Reddick backing up and makes the catch.
It sounded loud. He must have missed the barrel by just a little bit right there.
A little bit.
That ball sounded like it was going to go a long way.
Here's Tyler O'Neill. Was ahead in the count first time up 3-0, and then Verlander came back and struck him out. The fastball taken high. Here's a 1-0. 1 ball and 1 strike. Houston last year 101-61 as they added Justin Verlander for the stretch run, and he was just dominant. They've also added Garrett Cole as a curveball gets away and hits Tyler O'Neill.
We got ice.
Better that than the fastball. Houston went after the title when they acquired Verlander. 5-player deal from Detroit. And if you combine his regular season and postseason last year with Houston, he was 9-1 with a 1.66 ERA and the ALCS MVP. It literally came down to the last seconds of the trade deadline for him to accept the deal.
He's got to be glad he did. And it felt like it gave, not only did it give the Astros energy, but I felt like Verlander got energy from coming over there and coming down the pennant race, because obviously Detroit had no chance of making a run. And to come over there, feel the excitement, get in there, now go to the World Series, he's found a second home and a new life.
His franchise too, what it meant to the city with everything they had gone through and been through and still going through, but what sports can do for a city. Gives you hope.
Yeah.
I mean, you've been there. You've been that guy that's picked up and you go from a team in which you're just playing out the schedule. Then all of a sudden they pick you up and say, hey, by the way, you've jumped about, I don't know, 35 games in the standings. So it does bring a little lift to the ballpark.
Oh, big time.
As Mejia pops it up. And the inning comes to a close. Yeah, he wins a World Series ALCS MVP. And oh, by the way, he marries Kate Upton. Some guys have all the luck. 3 in a row as NASCAR heads to Phoenix for the second race of the NASCAR Series. Catch all the action Sunday starting at 2 on Fox or stream it live on Fox Sports Go. New pitcher in as Mike Myers takes over for Miles Michaelis. 4 scoreless for him. Much better tonight. And Myers, his numbers a year ago. Mentioned it earlier, the Cardinals will use him in the bullpen now. That's where he's going. And he has opened up eyes here in camp. He's had a very good camp here for the Cardinals.
Yes, he has, especially with Luke Gregerson coming up a little bit sore and hurt. Now they put these guys down there and add some depth to it. I like what they've saw so far.
He's introduced to a young man, Chris Paraguay, a few years ago. Ben Fredrickson, who used to work at Fox Sports Midwest, now the Post-Dispatch, wrote just a terrific piece on this young man. He never misses our game. Reached out to me through Twitter today. He has a severe case of a crippling disease, and so his bones break all the time, and yet has the attitude of someone that you would think would never have to deal with that. And he loves the Cardinals, and he's watching tonight. We're thinking about you. Thanks for always tuning in. Big fan. 1 ball and 1 strike. Derek Fisher struck out first time up. We didn't see that in the last couple of years from Mike Myers. Ball is jumping out of his hands.
Jumping. Just like we talked about Verlander, you can see the carry where he's throwing through the catcher and not to the catcher. And as a hitter, it's just that, you know, it just kind of slides by you. When you're expecting it to almost sink or move into the barrel, it just has that rise ball thing where guys are always going to be under it. So he's probably going to get quite a few fly balls, but that's okay.
Only 26 out of Grove City, Ohio.
Really getting through that ball, getting over that front side, creating that back 4-seam spin to create that rise ball going up into the zone.
Here's a 2-2 pitch. Struck him out. Good start here for Mike Myers.
That one at 97. You see that ball right there just carrying through it. Fisher just getting way too big in that count right there.
I had not seen 97 from Mike Myers. Not till this spring. Pretty good.
It's got to be a confidence builder for him, too.
No doubt. Jake Marisnick. Line foul. Remember, Myers got the start a couple of years ago. Sunday night game, making his major league debut. So it's on national TV. And it truly was, statistically, one of the worst starts ever. Gave up a ton of runs. Couldn't get anybody out. Whole world's watching. And obviously it sticks with you, but to his credit, went back down, worked on things, got called back up, and he's had better success coming out of the pen. That's a nasty pitch right there.
That was nasty. Here you see this just breaking off the table. Looks like a completely different pitch compared to that first curveball that Marisnick pulled foul.
Here's the 0-2. Yachty wants it up, gets it there. That one at 95.
Bayou, he wasn't even close to the ball. Here you see him, I mean, he was under that ball by 3 inches. Wasn't even close to it. Here from the side, by him.
When you think about how baseball is played today, and you go look at the postseason of last year, and I think it began with the 2011 Cardinals and how they utilized their bullpen. You know, over the course of a season, Mike Maddox will probably see 18 to 23, maybe 25 pitchers that come up. The point being, you've got to have depth, in particular with your bullpen. And analytics are showing that starters aren't going deep into games. You're relying on your bullpen even more. That is nasty there.
That's a wipeout slider.
I mean, Mike Myers is opening up some eyes here, folks.
When you got to get ready as a hitter to hit that 96, 97 mile-an-hour fastball with rise on it, because when the ball rises, you have to get started a little bit earlier compared to a sinker ball pitcher, and then he throws that slider. You're like a deer in headlights. When guys throw fastballs like that, as a hitter, you're trying to hit the top half of the ball just because you know it's going to rise on you. So it almost makes you create a different swing.
Strikes out this side. 94 on that pitch.
You can just see the life on it.
Woo. Fisher, Brisnick, Springer. Mike Myers, good stuff.
Threw fastballs by everyone.
Jerseys, kids jersey, Cardinals hockey jersey, and more. Tickets to some of the great giveaways through the jersey pack or buy them as a single game ticket, on sale now at Cardinals.com. Ken Giles is the new pitcher. Had a rough stretch at the very tail end of the season, but he was their closer and a good one for the better part of it. As Wong gets it out of play. Verlander went 5 innings, struck out 8, gave up 2 hits, including a home run, and now Giles is with the Phillies and then picked up by Houston. You know, we're talking, Rick, about the postseason, and it's such a grind where, you know, you always hear the term high leverage situation, right? Your 7th, 8th inning, game on the line, high leverage. Well, pitch 1 in game 1 of the division series is high leverage. So you're already on fumes, and it's October, and you're trying to ask these guys to go out and, you know, continue at that high level for another month. It's hard, and I mean really hard to do. That may have what happened there with Giles. Is Wong grounds out 0 for 3 tonight.
It is tough to do, but one thing I will say about the postseason, because you're coming into that moment of the postseason, you do get this adrenaline that you haven't felt before. There's an energy that comes with it. A lot of guys have trouble controlling it just because you're in that moment. But, you know, for a closer, somebody like Giles, who's max effort all the time, certainly he could have been slowing down and just running out of gas coming down that stretch.
He's had a shot of the Astros dugout. Looked to be the Hall of Famer Craig Biggio. There he is. I believe that's Brett Strom in the background. Brett was a pitching coach in the Cardinals system for a number of years. And if not for Tommy John, it'd be called Brett Strom surgery. He was the second to ever have it.
Was he?
He had Tommy John. He was the second, and it happened, I mean, really, really close to each other. And Tommy John had it, so Tommy John surgery.
So funny, fast forwarding now, you start looking at almost everybody's had it. And even if you look at veteran pitchers who haven't had it, I feel like teams are reluctant to sign those guys because they're thinking, well, he hasn't had Tommy John. It must be coming soon.
John Lackey signed a deal for over $100 million. I believe it was over 100. Knowing that, and he was signed by Boston, knowing that after looking at him medically, he had a slight tear in the elbow. They knew it was going to give at some point. So part of the deal was, and the Cardinals benefited from this, that he would play 1 year for the minimum. So the Cardinals traded for him, and that happened to be the year that he pitched for the minimum. But he got $100 million knowing he was going to have Tommy John surgery. It's incredible.
The rate of success that they have with that surgery now.
And you had it.
I did have it.
Yeah.
And some guys come back throwing harder, and I did not, but I feel like those are the guys who really didn't do much to prepare with their shoulder work, everything they do to get their bodies as strong as possible to pitch. And the guys who didn't, because they have to, coming back from that surgery, they do come back stronger. The guys who were already on top of those things, you know, they come back to be the same. But I think nowadays with the specific training that we have, the science that we have, the data they have, everything they know how to get guys to throw hard and benefit from leverage and everything they can do. It seems like everybody's on top of everything they can to be the best they can.
See Alex Reyes at some point this year. Cardinals are hoping by May 1st he'll have some role. There's a strikeout of Pham.
Pham not happy about that one. Looked like he might have been looking for something else there.
So I asked Mike Maddox the other day, I said, and I wanted to make sure he knew I wasn't talking about Reyes in particular with the question. I just said, in generally speaking, guys coming back from Tommy John, how do you like to see them come back? Bullpen, rotation, whatever. And he didn't pin it one way or another. As you get a look at Molina, he said, I'd like to have guys have a set schedule. I'm paraphrasing, but basically knowing when they're going to pitch, when the off days are coming.
Yep.
That seems to be the right way to do it, right?
I agree. If it's me, I bring him back as a starter because you can control it. You know when he's going to pitch. If there's an off day, you can skip it, so you can control the innings. You know, nowadays where we talk about all the time with guys, the analytics not wanting to see those guys go through the third time of the lineup. Well, if he only gives you 5 innings, you got control of it, and that's kind of the way baseball's trending anyway.
Yeah. Plus, with the off days that you have, you know, if you wanted to skip them, bank innings for later in the season, you could do that. Here's a ground ball off the bat of Molina. And a 1-2-3 inning for Giles. We head to the bottom of the 6th, and it's 1-0.
All right, Mike, the shooting stars are back. What's going on, Mike?
By Budweiser. Wherever legendary MLB moments happen, Budweiser will be there. By Ford, the official cars and trucks of the St. Louis Cardinals. And by the Missouri Lottery. Every ticket played gives back to Missouri schools, so play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. Great to have Rick Ankiel with us. 1-0 Cardinals. A Paul DeYoung home run. Here's Kyle Tucker.
One of the young bright stars in the Astros system. I had a chance to spend some time with Alex Cora today with the Red Sox over at the other stadium. And he talked about this kid. He said, what a great swing. They love this kid. He's just, the Astros have so much depth that they're coming out saying he's not ready, but
out to center, and Pham is there.
The only reason he's not ready is because they have so much depth.
Exactly.
On any other squad, he'd be starting in the big leagues this year.
Rick, he's only 22. The talk around camp is that he might make the club, but they don't want to stunt his growth because of the depth that they have and put him on the bench. Combined AA, AAA last year, he had 25 home runs, and he homered earlier in spring against the Cardinals. They love Kyle Tucker. Jake Mayfield, undrafted out of Oklahoma, and hasn't appeared in a big league camp until this season at the age of 27. A scary moment with him last year. Shattered his left orbital socket. He was hit by a pitch below his left eye, and that was in August, so it's not even been a year. Split time last year between AA, that's Corpus Christi, and AAA Fresno. 20 home runs, 28 doubles. Tell you what, it takes guts to get back in there.
You're not lying. I've never been hit in the face as a hitter, but I can only imagine. Especially, you know, right-hander on right. Ball coming out of his hand basically behind you.
Here's the 0-2 pitch. And everybody is throwing hard. I mean, everybody's mid-90s to upper 90s. If somebody's not throwing 95, you're almost like, well, what's wrong with them? It's ridiculous.
Yeah, they might not even get a shot. What sets people apart, though, is late life. Whether you're throwing that hard or not, it's that late life. Do you hide the ball? Does your 94 play like it's 97? Some guys throw as hard as can be, but they throw 97, but it plays like 92 or 93. For some reason, you can just see the ball for a long way out of their hand. They don't hide it well, and you're able to pick it up. Guy that reminds me of somebody who was throwing 90, looked like 98, was Cliff Lee, the lefty. He would just, when he came through with his arm, you just seen wrist, and all of a sudden the ball popped out on you and it was by you.
Here's a 1-2. High fly ball lifted out to deep left. And Ozuna with the catch.
Ozuna got turned around a little bit the wrong way, but good footwork, able to get back there and make that catch.
Back with you tomorrow. Marlins and the Cardinals at noon. And what's on tap is brought to you by Budweiser. The game tomorrow, if you go looking for baseball, it'll be on Fox Sports Midwest Plus. We also have hockey on the main channel.
Already giving you complex enough.
But you all are so smart, you all figured out. I have no doubt. Alex DeGotti. Here's the 0-1. Myers trying to make it 6 up and 6 down. Pena is the new catcher, so Yadier Molina's night is through.
See the difference in that first curveball and the second one. The first one, we were just trying to throw strike one. He just kind of lays it in there. That second one breaking off the table.
Here's a 1-1 pitch.
And the hitters will let you know whether they're seeing the ball or not. And right now, out of Myers' hand, you can tell that they're not picking up that fastball. They can't catch up with it. I mean, he's throwing it by every single hitter.
Here's a 1-2 pitch. Struck him out. Good work by Myers. Faces 6, strikes out 4.
What I love about that pitch right there when he came set, you see him taking his time, getting his breath right, and just dominate.
Ricky and Keel is with us, and you noticed something with Mike Myers last inning on a breaking ball.
Yeah, first pitch breaking ball is a pitcher you're taught to throw a strike pitch, and here it is. Most hitters are up there looking fastball first pitch. You see him laid in there for a strike. This second curveball, you see this is for the swing and miss. If he's looking heater there or anything else, that's to produce weak contact or a swing and miss. That was a great pitch. I think the only reason he didn't swing at that is because he couldn't.
I was saying before the game, and I've seen most of the Cardinals games so far down here in spring, whether we're doing them or not, that Brad Peacock has been the nastiest I've seen of any pitcher down here. This guy the other day made a start against the Cardinals and was filthy.
And a local kid. He's from down here in Wellington, which isn't too far from the stadium here, maybe 20 minutes. But he gets that good downhill plane. His slider can be absolutely filthy when he throws it off of that fastball.
0-2 on Marcell Ozuna.
You know, his arm angle to me looks, it's down more than I've seen in the past.
Oh-2 pitch. Hit the other way off the end of the bat. Not a bad pitch, but a base hit for Marcell Ozuna. That'll be it for Ozuna. Harrison Bader will take over.
Ozuna in a 2-strike count, just slowing it down, trying to make contact. And you see him shorten that front stride right there with the 2 strikes, not trying to get too big, but just staying in there in the back, giving himself a chance to get a base hit.
First Cardinal hit since all the way back in the second. It's a base hit by Carson Kelly. And now Paul DeYoung. Strike 1. DeYoung a home run back in inning number 2. Peacock, his season last year was both in the bullpen and as a starter, and he thrived at both. Slider in the dirt. Bader reads it well on his way to second base. Peacock went 10-2 as a starter, 3-0 with a 1.77 as a reliever. And because of depth, he could be a guy that's in their bullpen. And for most teams, he'd be a starter.
That's where the Astros really set themselves apart as a team. They have so much depth on both sides. hitting, pitching. Like you mentioned, a lot of guys that might be in the bullpen that could be a starter or possibly might be in AAA would be starters for other teams.
You mentioned that Brad is from this area, Palm Beach Central High School. He was a shortstop then. Drafted by Washington, 41st round. He was a draft and follow, did not sign. And a Young skies one into center. Well, he just missed it. Bader will tag up from second to third. And he's in there safely. Well, sometimes with that slider, you can spin him, as you know, and that was sitting on a tee.
Yes, it was. His elbow got a little bit underneath it and just spun it. Pauly just missed that ball. Bader doing a great job right there with no outs. He should be tagging up. Base hit. He went to get off, turned around right away to check out where that fly ball was going to be. As soon as he realized that it wasn't going to be over his head, went back for the tag up, tagged up. Now he's at third. Great job of base running.
Now Carson Kelly, infield drawn in, 1-0 our score here in the top of the 7th. Kelly, the designated hitter. Fastball at a strike.
Infield in.
So fastball, second pitch, backing him off, and now you're thinking maybe slider, get him to reach, swing through it, get that weak ground ball.
Or something in. You see the outfield shifted over to the right side, but if you can jam them here, they are going away, but if you can jam them here, you know, produce weak contact. Keep that ball in the infield. Peacock's job's right here. He doesn't want to give up a fly ball. He wants to keep it in the infield, keep that runner at third.
Here's a 2-1 pitch to Kelly.
Good take. As a hitter right here, you're trying to get something up to hit the fly ball or drive something.
High fly ball into center. Plenty deep.
That'll do it.
Catch is made. Bader will tag up from third, and it's 2-0 Cardinals on a Carson Kelly sacrifice fly.
Base open right there. I don't think Peacock was trying to get that much of the plate. If he walks him, he's got the double play in order. Left too much of the plate right there. Carson Kelly doing a good job with the bat right there. Got something he could drive or hit a fly ball out into the outfield and got the job done.
Slider tonight has not been the wipeout slider that we saw the other day.
No. But you can see in that last at bat, that's what he trusts, because he just gave him a steady diet of them. And there it is again.
Strike to Patrick Wisdom. Fly to right, also struck out. And the 0-1.
Another one. That one backed up on him. Almost looked like he's trying to make it too nasty.
You can overthrow them, can't you?
Yes.
That's when they spin. Little grounder hit up the middle, but right into a shift. And Wisdom grounds out. RBI by Carson Kelly to bring in Bader. Time to stretch, and it's 2-0 our score. Yep, he was pretty nasty. Strikes out 8 in 5 innings. But he did make one mistake. This one here to Paul DeYoung. And a solo home run. Paul's first hit since March 2nd. And Miles Michaelis, as the game went on, he got better and better. 4 scoreless innings for the Cardinals right-hander. And 2-0 is our score.
Great start for Miles to build some confidence on. You could see once his tempo slowed down, you could start to see the movement and more action in his pitches. His stuff is definitely good enough. It's just going to be about dialing it in those sights and getting action on all those pitches, mixing in those off-speed pitches like he did tonight.
Yeah, you noticed as John Brebbia takes over, if he stays back with his delivery, that's when he's going to get his movement. That's when he's going to have his best stuff.
Just a matter of him getting comfortable, being back in the United States, impressing the Cardinals, impressing everyone else, just doing what he can do, staying within himself.
So Brebbia, that slider hits Reed, and the tying run now will come to the plate.
Brebbia trying to throw that back foot slider. The hitter didn't even budge. I feel like the umpire should call him back.
It's going to be really interesting in, say, 10 days down here. We start getting late innings where regulars are playing full games. What direction Mike Matheny goes with in the back end of his bullpen. Who's your closer? If Gregerson's out, and again, it's not supposed to be serious, but if he's out, and Wisdom will give chase out of play, what direction the Cardinals go with in closing games out? Dominic Leone has been doing that. He's looked good. Brebbia has looked good. Who knows? Even a guy like Mike Myers, who's emerging.
He looked really good tonight.
Really good. I mean, it's right now, I think it's up for grabs. Cardinals are not going to come out and say who the 9th inning will be. Tim Fedorovich is the catcher. Took over a couple of innings ago for Brian McCann. He's at the plate. Pena took over for Molina for St. Louis. That is the son of Tony Pena. Oh-2 is fouled back. Talked to John the other day, and I think you'll find this interesting. Cardinals get him, essentially following him from independent ball and sign him. And I said, well, how do you go from independent baseball to really not getting a look? And he originally was drafted by the Yankees to then all of a sudden having a prime role in a bullpen. And it was that pitch right there that just hit 98 on the gun. 98 as he rears back and fires that pitch.
It's a sneaky 98.
He said, well, I was throwing, low 90s, good slider, could get it to the mid 90s when I reared back and fired it. He said, obviously that wasn't good enough. I was getting hit a little bit, had some success, but I'm not getting the looks by major league teams, so I just decided to rear back and throw it as hard as I can. So I'm throwing it as hard as I can. And because of that, he's found himself a home. While we have a moment, I want to say congratulations to Jen Langosh. And if you read her work, she's at Cardinals.com. Brand new baby. That's Audrey Rose. Born March 7th, 10 pounds, 2 ounces. Our new Cardinal fan. Husband Matt, and now proud new parents. Jen, we miss you down here. Can't wait to see you back on the beat. But congratulations to Jen Langosh, one of the real good people in our business.
Best gift in life.
You bet. So I'm telling you about Brebbia just rearing back and saying, all right, I'm throwing as hard as I can, and you're looking at me like, yeah, that's how you got to do it.
Well, we were just talking about the mid-90s doesn't get you anything, and all
Right.
of a sudden he's letting it eat.
I said, well, what about your control? And he said, well, yeah, that was a little bit of a concern, but I've learned with a compact delivery to have a pretty good idea where it's going. And he rears back and he says, I throw every pitch my fastball, you're getting it as hard as I can throw it. And he can bring it. We've seen him hit 98 on the gun tonight.
Some guys are afraid to rear back and let it go as hard as they can.
For lack of movement, you think? Or
I'm not sure what it is, but you know, when you end up talking to guys, I think they've always been taught to pitch and not to do that, and they've just been afraid to do it for whatever reason. And like you said, all of a sudden it wasn't good enough, and he was forced to do it, and now he found himself a place to pitch.
Here's the 0-2 to Derek Fisher. And a fly ball lifted out to left. Bader racing near the line, and it drops. Forced play at third, but the throw is cut off, and the bases will be loaded. See, my man next to me, Ricky Ankiel, is not one that's going to talk about himself. So I'll do the talking for you. So the other day I said to Rick, I said, if I got you on the mound, you still can bring it. I've seen you throw at fantasy camp. He said, yeah, I can throw okay. I said, all right, I'll put the over-under at 95 miles an hour. And before I got that out, you said, take the over.
If you give me a month to prepare.
Right.
Yeah.
Give me a month. I'm 95 plus. No problem.
I'll take that bet.
And I said curveball, and before I got that out of my mouth, you said, but drop about 2 feet. So the base is loaded here, and this is Ronnie Dawson, who's come up from their minor leagues. I like these moments in spring training. These are big for these young kids. No name on the back.
Yeah, agreed.
And the high number and a chance to do something. Popped up. Mejia giving chase. Out of play.
Something else you see with the young kids. You see that swing there. That looked like he was trying to hit a grand slam swing,
yes.
right? He wasn't just trying to hit a fly ball. He could play pepper with as hard as Brebry is throwing right there. You see him, he's trying to back leg that ball and take it over the backstop in center field. But emotions play a big part in that too. Here he is up in big league camp for getting a big at bat in a big situation. They're only down by 1.
Here's a 1-1.
Excuse me.
Cardinals got a run on a solo home run by Paul DeYoung, and then the sac fly off the bat of Carson Kelly to score Harrison Bader. Three and 2.
Again, trying to hit it over the light pole. Sometimes that's the hardest thing to do in those moments. You just slow it down and just play pepper.
And he walked him. So the Astros get on the board. That will be a mound visit number 2 for the Cardinals tonight. John Brebbia, by the way, 2 years of independent baseball for Sioux Falls and Laredo. .50 appearances last year for John Brebbia. That was 4th on the club. There's a slider down and in. Opponents only hit 193 against him. He's in a jam now. Bases loaded. John Kemmer at the plate. It's 1 ball and 1 strike.
Nice job by Brebbia there. He didn't try to overthrow that one, understanding that he's in a 1-0 count. Made a good pitch on the outside corner.
Hitters count, 2 balls and a strike. Ripped, foul. Here at this ballpark, going down both lines, they have protective netting, not just behind the dugouts, but all the way down. You see it there, Camberwell. And I would think that more and more fields and stadiums will probably do that.
Yeah, I think it's a smart move, especially now where people are so engaged on their phones all the time, nobody paying attention.
Right down the middle, he struck him out.
That one at 97. Brevia letting that one go right there. Great pitch on the inner half. Locked the hitter up.
So here's Kyle Tucker. We talked about his outstanding resume, albeit brief, but top pick by the Astros and their #1 prospect. Fly to center, first time up.
The only one to make contact off Myers with any.
Flies to center, and it's over. Mercado. This will clear the bases. Tucker on his way to third with a triple.
You can see why they're so high on him right there. Just shooting balls up the middle right there. Mercado got a bat. Just those are the hardest plays as a center fielder or as any outfielder to make, those balls straight at you. Ball down the middle. He just shoots it up the middle. Short and quick. Stays through it. Mercado right off the jump. He kind of was stuck right there. Not sure if it's going to be in front or behind him, and that made all the difference in making that catch.
Good jump. He might get to it.
Definitely. But like I said, those are the hardest plays to make that there are. The ones that are right at you.
By the way, a pitching change is not a mound visit. So this would not count against the Cardinals, if you're wondering. So that'll be it for John Brebbia. And Sam Tuivailala will pitch when we come back. Everything plus a great ticket to the game. Beer, soda, food, all included with your ticket price at Cardinals.com. And still, some pretty good seats remain for the opening day in St. Louis. It'll be a Thursday night with Arizona in town. Sam Tuivailala, here's another one of those guys that would get consideration for the closer's role. Done plenty of that in the minor leagues. So runner at third. Jack Mayfield is the batter. And the Astros now own the lead, 4-2. First lead of the night for Houston. I mean, even when I watch Sam, free, easy, smooth, 95.
Yep, jumping out of his hand. And a good chance for Mike to see what he does with a runner on third here, considering from closer situation.
Two balls and no strikes. Here's a 2-0 pitch and a strike. On the air tomorrow, noon St. Louis time on Fox Sports Midwest Plus. Blues hockey on the main channel will be on the plus side. And Michael Wacha will get the start for the Cardinals. Kind of a quiet spring for Michael Wacha. You know, we've talked so much about Ozuna and Miles Michaelis, and yet coming back, Michael Wacha, 30 starts a year ago, and will be relied upon in a big way this year in that rotation.
Yep.
The 3-1 pitch, pulled foul. Minor league ballpark, and that literally is out of the stadium. Second year of this complex, and it is beautiful. Had the chance to walk around it this afternoon, and they have fields that are just designed for infield, and then you've got portions of the complex just with an outfield wall to work on outfield play. The swing and a miss, and Tui Valala gets the strikeout, and that'll end the inning. We head to the 8th, and the Cardinals now trailing by the score of 4-2. 2011 World Series, a red jacket opening day car bobblehead. You might get Red or Gibby or Lou. Don't know until you walk through the turnstiles, but bobbleheads will be prevalent again in the giveaways and promotions. Cardinals.com/promotions for those bobbleheads. You got packs around those and also single game. tickets available.
I'm a big fan of the bobblehead.
How many do you have?
I probably have 15 now, but I wish I had more. You remember the collection the guy had in Houston? The clubhouse guy. Did you ever see that collection?
Yeah. And then Jeffrey Loria had the bobblehead museum at the Miami Marlins ballpark. How about of you, though? You've had some, right? Didn't they ever do?
I've had 2 or 3.
Probably one pitching, one hitting, one
yeah.
outfield.
Everyone I had, my kids have broken.
Tore the head off.
I thought it was a regular toy, yeah.
O'Neill breaks his bat, grounds to short. Oh, and he just may have hurt himself, reaching for his hamstring.
Now batting third baseman number 54, Alex Mejia.
Something not right as he was going for the bag at first. Here it is. He got down the line very quickly, too. Ouch.
Definitely looked like a hamstring. Watching it from up here, you didn't get to see it in that replay.
There's Alex Mejia. I have a Buck O'Neill signed bobblehead. That's my favorite bobblehead. Buck O'Neill, one of the great Negro League players ever and promoters of the game. Did you ever go to the museum in Kansas City when you were there?
No.
If you ever get a chance, take your kids. They would love it. I mean, if you love baseball and you love the history of the game, which I do, it's really neat. And Buck was a prominent figure with the Negro Leagues and that museum. I think I interviewed him. He probably was 92 or 93 and sharp. I mean, really sharp and funny and quick. Since he's passed away and we all miss him, but man, what a life. Three and 2 the count on Alex Mejia. The takeaway, I think, right now from this game is Miles Michaelis. That'd be number 1 because he'd been battered around in the first 2 starts. Then Mike Myers, dominant. So Mejia hits it sharply to short. Nice play. And then the loss now of Tyler O'Neill, looks like, with a hamstring issue. But here it is, Miles Michaelis.
Once he's settled down, we just start to see that movement that he has. You see the stuff that he has, and that's why the Cardinals that's why they gave him that 2-year deal. I think they understood it watching him pitch in Japan that he really figured some stuff out and learned how to pitch. And to come in here and do that against the Astros lineup, who can hit with the best of them, this is one of the best lineups in all of baseball. That's got to be a confidence builder for him. Not only for him, but for the team, for the Cardinals, for the organization, and everything we're going to do.
You kind of step back, you take a deep breath. Right? I mean, you're like, okay, all right, this is the guy we signed. This is the guy that we think he can be. And I'm sure for Miles, I mean, it's got to be human nature to where you go over, you have success in Japan, you come back over, and your first 2 starts in big league baseball, you get hit around.
Yep.
You're thinking, does my stuff play here? Right?
No question. No question. And there has to be that mental part of it. Like we said, we were talking about that earlier. Just, you know, you want to come out here and do good. You sign the contract. You want to live up to it. But not only that, but he's pitching here at home where he grew up. I'm sure he's leaving 30 tickets every night, every time he's out there. And he wants to prove that he can do it here in the United States.
Francisco Pena at the plate, 2-2 the count. Peacock is second inning of work. Busted him in. Broke his bat. And the Cardinals go quietly Here in the top of the 8th. Houston midway through 8 on top 4-2. Verlander, he struck out 8. So he allowed the home run to Paul DeYoung, but that was it. Both are pretty good tonight.
Different ways to get it done.
Yep.
Miles still came out of the game with the lead.
So Bud Norris, and if you just joined us, Mike Matheny saying before the game tonight that Norris will pitch exclusively now out of the bullpen. That'll be his role with the club. And probably short stints, as he finished up last year as a closer with the Angels. Had a little hiccup in spring dealing with a groin issue, but that seems to be forgotten now. No big deal, and he's back out there.
I had a chance to play with Bud with the Astros when I was there. He was there also, and he was a starter then. I talked to him about it, and he said, you know, I like starting better just because you know when you're starting every 5th day, but I've figured this pin thing out, and I'm starting to be comfortable here as well.
It's funny. Some guys say, I want the schedule. I want to know every 5th day I'm going. Other guys say, I love waking up knowing I could pitch tonight. The competition is going to be there. Some guys like it, some don't. Two balls, no strikes. Alex DeGotti at the plate, shortstop, took over for Carlos Correa. $5. Bud was signed back on the 14th of February. 19 saves and 23 opportunities last year. Longtime Houston Astro that was dominant early on against St. Louis in his career. He's got that very good slider that's still an effective pitch. Fan-friendly values. Just go to Cardinals.com/values, and there are great deals every night at the ballpark. Make sure you go to Cardinals.com/values to see what you can get for this upcoming season.
You know, going back to that, being a starter versus being in the bullpen. When you're a starter, you know when that day is. And when you first go to the bullpen, every time the phone rings, your heart jumps up another 15 beats. Not sure if it's going to be you, especially if you have a manager that you can't follow. Sometimes you can get in rhythm with the manager and you can tell the situation that when the phone rings, you think it's going to be you. And sometimes you have a manager where they just go with their gut instinct and there is no rhythm to it. And all of a sudden, it's just it can be nerve-wracking.
I would assume that if you're Bud Norris, and many guys have done this, been starters and then going to the bullpen, one of the hardest aspects of doing that is just getting ready.
Yes. Yep.
You know, realizing that the game is sometimes moving very quickly and you got to get ready. So you're trying to manage with your manager and saying, okay, well, if I'm coming in the game, I'm going to face player X and he's 2 away. And then sometimes it's like boom, boom, couple ground balls, you're in. You got to get ready in a hurry.
Yeah, especially compared to the starter. I mean, you typically have your routine where you start an hour before the game and you know exactly what time you want to warm up. Get out in that pen, all of a sudden, hey, you're up and you're in one hitter. Get it going.
Yeah. Bader with the catch out and left. And there's 2 outs. Tim Federovich. Four to 2 our score. Cardinals had a 2-0 lead going into the 7th. Astros got 4 and now have the lead. Was talking with some of the players before the game and they're saying, I don't know if I like these night games, as they become creatures of habit to get up early, get to the ballpark, have a game at 1, have a normal, quote unquote, normal night, you know, with their family or whatever, going out to dinner and doing it all again. And now guys are saying, well, I couldn't wait to sleep in, and yet I was up at 6.
Hard to get out of that routine. Then tomorrow back to getting up at 6.
Exactly.
Being back at the park early.
Drifting back, making the catch, Mercado. Final hope for the Cardinals coming up. We go to the 9th in a 4-2 ball game. Transmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. New pitcher in, that's Chris Davinsky. Came over from the White Sox, part of the Brett Myers deal in 2012. He's 27. A 2.38 ERA in his 2 years in the big leagues. I think now anytime you're under 3.5 in the big leagues, pretty good.
Agreed. You can see when he strides to the plate, he really lands open.
It's actually falling off towards the first base side.
From
And you were weren't you always taught to finish towards the plate?
Yes. You would think from a mechanical standpoint that it's going to put a lot of stress on his shoulder. Might create a lot of movement, but over time you'd worry about his shoulder strength.
Oscar Mercado, a bouncer hit to short. One away. A reminder that we're back at it again tomorrow at noon. And we'll see the Marlins. Edmundo Sosa. And a fastball in for a strike. What do you think, Ricky and Keel? You like this broadcasting stuff?
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun so far.
You like it?
Yeah.
Good. We'll get used to it.
Thank you. I will.
It's been fun. Rick will be part of our pre- and post-game shows again this season on Fox Midwest. Here's the 0-2. And Sosa hits it out of play. Every ex-player says, man, it looks a lot easier up here. I'm assuming it looks a little easier up here than down there.
When you're watching the game, and even from up here when you're watching on TV, I always got to remind myself, remember what it's like down there competing and being in the box. Because when you're sitting on TV, it looks way easier than what the game is.
Slow. And it's anything but. There we are.
Hey.
It's anything but slow. I mean, you go down on the field. If fans have a ticket that are, 1 or 2 rows back, there's a base hit into left center. You just see the speed of the game. It's incredible. And you also see how big these guys are, too.
Yes. I know when I'm watching it on TV, I'm always thinking, how that guy swinging that ball in the dirt, or how he swinging that ball above his head. I remember how many times I did.
Here's Harrison Bader. Took over in left field for Marcell Ozuna. Right now, you'd have to think he would have a very good, maybe the inside track to that 4th or 5th outfield spot. Breaks his bat. Sosa back to the bag at first base. So 2 outs. Wilfredo Tovar will be the batter. There's a look at Bader, but his speed, play all 3 outfield spots. He's got power, and he's going to have a chance to make this club. Wilfredo Tovar, Cardinals rave about his glove. They say he is slick. Here's a 1-0.
Going back to Bader, it's hard not to root for a guy who hustles so much, 100% all the time. He's not going to take a play off. He gives you everything he has every time out there.
That's why I pull for Pham. I watch Tommy Pham. I've never seen him run down the line at probably 80%. I mean, he is busting it.
And I believe a lot has to do with it for how long it took him to get here.
No doubt.
And he understands what this opportunity means.
If you're a fan and you're at home or you buy a ticket, you just appreciate guys that play the game hard. And it's not going to happen all the time where a guy's 100% down the line. This should do it. Tovar rounds out to second, and Houston has a 4-2 win. Michaelis, Myers, 2 very good stories from the Cardinals' perspective tonight. So 4-2 the final. Quick commercial break, then we'll wrap it up. And again, our next telecast will be tomorrow at noon.